I think actually utility. I think what we're seeing now is back in the 2017 cycle, it was all about who had the best white paper. Now it's about capitalizing on trends. So you've got a lot of scammy sort of things going on where people are slapping together something very quickly just to sort of be out there and be in the space and say they are. But what I'm noticing is that the quality of the projects is a lot better than it was back in the days of 2017. So we're getting a lot more utility and stronger utility behind the tokens. And we're starting to see the emergence of projects that are crossing over across multiple sectors. So DeFi NFTs or gaming and NFTs together. So you're starting to see the interoperability come into play, and you're starting to see the sectors merge together. And I think that's extremely exciting as far as giving people that are invested something a little bit more than just a concept or a white paper. And so that's, as far as I'm concerned, the trend is that people can actually start to use these projects. Yeah, I think that what we're seeing is the movement, or what we're seeing now is we're seeing people talk about the actual sectors of blockchain, whereas before it was Bitcoin, and then it was Ethereum as a platform, and then we saw the emergence of more platforms and your Matics and your Dots and all the rest of it. But what we're now seeing is that people are saying NFTs are a big thing, or gaming is a big thing, or DeFi is a big thing. So what people are actually doing now is you're seeing that the big accounts are starting to talk about the new sectors. They're like a sector within the space, and it's a chance for new people to get on board and to catch something early that's still in the blockchain space. And even though people feel as though they might have missed the boat because Bitcoin's, $60,000 or thereabouts, and they should have got in years and years ago, this is offering people an opportunity to come in early into one of these emerging sectors within blockchain. So that's an exciting investment opportunity for people. Yeah, I think personally, and obviously I'm not an investment advisor or anything like that, but I think personally, DeFi, the reason it's been so successful is because I think there's still a misconception that great utility will bring great usage of tokens. Now, if I'm extremely bullish on a token, I'm probably going to be more inclined to hold it for appreciation perspective. So DeFi, where that actually really sort of catered to the crowd, and where the DeFi people were listening to what people were talking about and saying, is that I could be extremely bullish on a token that I'm holding, and I can lock that up and take a loan against that. So I'm actually being able to eat and live from a loan that I've taken against my crypto without actually having to sell it. So I think that was the first and primary use case, and that makes perfect sense. And I know myself speaking, most of my friends who are invested don't want to actually use the tokens to potentially buy stuff. They think it's got an appreciation perspective or value to it. So that will definitely come though, and it will come in time that the utility is far more used, and the tokens are used as platform access, which they're supposed to be. But ultimately, DeFi has been successful because of that, and it gives people the opportunity to get extremely high yields. Generally, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. And there's a lot of rug pulls and all the rest of it out there, but there's enough established platforms now that you can still earn ridiculously high amounts of return compared to a traditional bank or lending solution. And that's why it's so attractive to people, especially in a time when the world's hurting so much. Fads are fads, they'll always be fads. It's an opportunistic thing, isn't it? You've got to get in and get out. When the dust settles and people are needing to extract their capital to be able to live, you're looking at what you can actually do, what's going to make a return, what's got actual real revenue and real customers. That's the really important part, because these businesses have to be able to stand alone. And if you want to be truthful or honest, if you look underneath a lot of the crypto projects, there isn't the ability to sustain them without a bull run or without the token price going up. So I think we're seeing a more mature investor, and that comes from being burned. And the 2017 crowd are much more wiser to it all now. And I think that now that we're getting institutional investors and more accredited investors coming into this space, they're much more savvy, and they're switched on to the fact that, hey, I can still make money out of something that provides a bit of fun for now, but ultimately long term, I've got to look at revenue and customers. Otherwise, when the dust settles, I'm left holding the baby. Yeah, I think the answer to that question quite simply is that DeFi, it's already on their radars, and we don't know who's behind a lot of these DeFi projects. They're still anonymous people, and that's due to legislation changes and the potential for hacks. So we're not 100% sure who's behind a lot of these DeFi projects, and they are high risk. I think institutions becoming involved doesn't necessarily push us towards an adoption path that we would have seen in the legacy models, because traditionally speaking, if a company went to IPO, they would actually have the potential to be able to then receive money, obviously, for the stocks and shares. And there was a large period of time when they're not public where there isn't any money or liquidity in their stocks, whereas the token world has completely turned that upside down, and it means that you can be liquid. So I think the game is changing, and I think a lot of the smart investors already know that. I think it's going to change the way people look at IPOs and the way that people look at public raises as well. And I think that if we think that institutions are not watching this and are not already involved in some capacity, maybe below the surface, I think we're a bit naive. I think they're already very well aware of what's going on. Yeah, I think it's. I think that the most important point there is the monetization aspect. So even traditional video games and online games, idle games, a lot of those companies grow very, very quickly. They have huge server costs and they don't have any way to monetize. And I think that what's happening is that a lot of the digital spaces like your AR, VR, they've seen this new opportunity in this new world, and there are ways to monetize the progression of the technology. And I think that what it's going to do is absolutely 100% expedite the not only the adoption, but also accelerate the actual evolvement, how these projects evolve and how the technologies evolve. So it is going to expedite this for sure, and it's already doing so in some capacity.